Good evening, everybody, and happy Sabbath. So nice of you to join us here on this cold. I mean, you can hear the rain outside, eh? I hope today and tonight, we can all be toasty inside and we'll feel the love and the warmth. And I hope, above anything else, that this talk will be informative, that we will leave this place feeling as if we understand what mental health is, what we can do to protect our mental health, sort of what are the factors we can look out for when our mental health, we feel that we are not mentally or emotionally in a good space, and be blessed. So before I start, maybe just open up with a word of prayer and ask the Lord to come into our hearts. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening to thank you for being who you are. Thank you for each individual that is sitting here. Thank you for blessing us with another week and to see another Sabbath day. I ask that you may use me this evening, Lord. May you speak through me and may you touch the hearts and the minds of those that are sitting here who need it the most. May you be with me throughout this presentation, and I ask and pray that we will be blessed. We ask these things in your name, amen. Forgive me on the odd occasion when I will just take a sip of water. My mouth does get dry, so, okay. So long gone are the days when people who were considered to be mentally ill, people often stereotype those that have mental illness with being crazy, with being dangerous, and you often socially isolated them from integrating within society. So those days are gone. Today, mental health and mental illness is very widely spoken about. People are into showing or expressing themselves on social media. They are sharing their stories. They are speaking up, and I'm very thankful for your testimony that you shared with us, and also for the braveness that you had with sharing with us your story. And so by them doing that, we highlight the importance of what mental health is and sort of how to look out for it and how you can protect it. So tonight, that is what our presentation is on. Okay. Looking out for your mental health, making sure that it matters and that you are aware of it, and what are the ways that you can then go about protecting your mental health, and also looking at what the Bible has to say about your mental health. I hope that we can all see. So just to give an overview, so we'll look at what are the concepts of mental health and well-being, what helps you as an individual to feel mentally and emotionally well. We look at some of the negative impacts, the risk factors that are associated with that puts you at risk for the development of a mental health issue or condition. We'll understand the concept of what that is, what are the most common mental health conditions, how to recognize it when you feel you're under stress and you're maybe at risk of development of this, where you then can go for mental health support. And then we'll look at some of the ways that you can protect and promote it. And then what does God say about it? And we'll end off with an activity that I hope that you can take away in your own life, and then you can apply it when you're feeling a bit under the weather. Okay. So this is an important thing for me to share. I'm not a qualified psychologist as of yet. This is merely a presentation for educational purposes. So if you are someone that is seeing a therapist or a doctor for your mental health issues, it's still important that you consult them for the advice, and they will obviously advise you accordingly. So it's just here to inform you. All good? Okay. So many clickers. Okay. So just by raise of hands, I'll just take maybe 2 people, what you think and what you understand by the word mental health. What does it mean for you to be mentally healthy? Don't you just sit there and look at me. I want you to share with me what you think it is. And I also want to share with you that there's no right or wrong answer. Mental health means different things to different people, and there's no, it's up to, it is what you think it is. Yes?
I think to be...
Oh, thanks.
Testing? Okay. So the way I understand what it means to be mentally healthy is to be able to articulate how you are feeling and then being able to express it in a healthy manner.
Okay. Well, thank you. Does someone else want to share with us what they think mental health means? You? Okay, Claudia, over here.
I've always associated mental health with, I've heard the term often chemical imbalance, or
Okay.
what chemically goes on in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as far as I know.
Okay. Well,
But I'm very excited to learn.
thank you. I'm excited that you're excited. Well, thank you for the two people that have shared with them what they think. And perhaps you sit in here and you have no idea what mental health is. I mean, that's why I'm here, to help you to understand it better. So, as we start, I want you to put your hand up in your seat. And we are just going to first be speaking about physical health. And you may be thinking, Aimee, why are we speaking about physical health? This is a mental health talk. We'll see a bit later on, there's a very close connection between your physical health and your mental health. If you have to think about how, let's just say we go out on a walk in nature. I mean, he was sharing with how he went out to take a walk in nature, and you often would do that and to clear your mind. And maybe when we feel that we have gone out to completed an activity, a physical activity, and if you have to think of how we feel as an individual once we've completed a workout, you feel on top of the world. Yes, I'm ready to go again. And that is because our brain releases chemical hormones known as serotonin and endorphins. And those are your feel-good hormones, and they allow you to feel good, they allow you to feel like you have a sense of accomplishment, you're rewarded, and you're ready to tackle on the day. So your physical health has to do with your body, right? And so just by raise of hands, to get an indication of anyone that thinks they are physically healthy. I think I'm physically healthy. Has anyone ever broken a bone before? I have not. I hope that I do not. Anyone has ever had a headache? Okay. Anyone ever cut their finger? Maybe we have fallen and been in pain. Maybe we've had a tummy ache or a toothache. I think we all experienced one of those. And so, as I mentioned, it's important to find the connection between your physical and your mental health. And just as every one of us has physical health, we all have mental health. I keep forgetting. Okay, so now I want you to think about, and perhaps you can just ponder in your seats and answer mentally if you've ever experienced one of these. So if you think you have mental health, that can be if you think you understand the concepts of mental health. Maybe you are in a position of being sound and you think that you are a sane person, if that's your definition of mental health. If you have ever felt happy in the past week, maybe you have felt sad. Have you ever felt excited? Excited could be when you have to get a birthday gift, or you are looking forward to maybe a big job promotion. Have you ever maybe felt scared? That could be when you are maybe, for myself, I was scared of would I do a good job to this evening in my presentation. It could be you may be scared of spiders. It could be that you may be scared of heights. And maybe have you ever felt worried before? And this could be maybe when it's your first day of school or you have to start a new job. You're not sure if you will do a good job at your new job. So all of these feelings that we feel, they make up our mental health. And it's important to remember that, as I mentioned, we all have mental health, the same way that each one of us has physical health. And I asked you about I didn't actually ask you, my bad. But just as, for example, when we've broken a bone, there's some place we can go to fix the bone. If we had a toothache, there's something we can take for the toothache. The same way we can fix our physical health is the exact same way there's things we can do to fix our mental health when we're feeling a bit out of balance. So our mental health has to do with the way we think, feel, and act. And Just like, I want to emphasize this again, just like everybody has physical health, we all have mental health. And so our mental health is on a wide spectrum. Apologies, no? Okay, there we're back. So it can range from very good to very bad, our mental health. And our mental health essentially helps us to think positively about things, it helps us to feel confident, and it helps us to act confidently and calmly. But when it comes to defining what mental health is this okay? Can you still hear me? Okay. When it comes to defining what mental health is, it can be quite difficult, and that is because mental health is fundamentally subjective and it is personal. So as we saw with the two different definitions of the individuals that shared with us, they had different ideas what mental health is. And that's what it is. What it means for somebody is not what it means for another person. And so it has to do with a sense of internal well-being, how you feel inside as a person, feeling in line with one's own beliefs and values, feeling at peace with oneself, and feeling positive and optimistic about life. Our mental health includes our psychological and our emotional and social well-being. Again, the way we think, we feel, and we act. And I want to draw our attention to this triangle. It's a therapy called CBT, and this is a cognitive behavioral therapy, and this is a form of therapy that therapists use to help patients understand that they are able to change the pattern of negative thoughts. And we can see over there we have thoughts, feelings, and behavior. And let's just say, for example, there's an imbalance in the way we think about something. Maybe we have negative thoughts. That then influences the way we feel, and that influences the way we act. And so this is also a way to show that thoughts create feelings, and the feelings lead us to act in a certain way. And so if we are feeling imbalanced, we may be dealing with stress. It may cause us to then be in stressful, there's a monitor right here. Be in stressful conditions, and the way we interact with each other could also be impacted. We may be socially withdrawn, we may not be ourselves, and we may not be able to make wise judgments. So, again, maybe two people can share with me what helps you to feel mentally and emotionally well. Could be going on a walk. What helps you to clear your mind? What helps you to feel on top of the world? Whether it be the beginning of the week or in your day-to-day, what do you get a sense of achievement when you have done something? Anyone is willing to? Yeah?
Playing the bass.
Say it again?
Playing the bass.
Oh, playing the bass. Mm-hmm. Another person, just one more person. Yoga. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And so perhaps we as individuals that are sitting here are not aware of the things that sort of make us and help us to feel mentally and emotionally well. And this activity, maybe you just while you're sitting here and as I'm going through the slides, you can start thinking about, but are there actually things that I can do that can help me to feel well? If there's a time when I'm feeling a bit stressed, what is it that I can do if I'm not sure, you know? Maybe let's try that thing out. So this is, keep forgetting. These are just, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'll go through some of them so that you can take it away with you and maybe you can apply it to your own life. So you can categorize feeling mentally and emotionally well into 6 different categories: engagement, attitudes about self, basic needs, purpose in life, relationship with others, and control over one's life. So engagement can simply be with having resilience. Perhaps you are facing adversity and being able to know whatever comes your way, I'm standing firm. That can help you to feel, I'm on top of the world, I'm feeling mentally and emotionally well, let's go. Perhaps attitudes about self has to do with having a positive self-esteem, feeling confident about who you are, knowing your worth, and having self-respect. Basic needs could be the fact that you have food and running water, shelter, clothing, and you have a good education. For purpose in life, it could have to be with having hope about a future, you have plans. Perhaps it has to be with you're able to set goals and achieve those goals, and you get a sense of fulfillment and you've accomplished something in your life. Relationship with others, being maybe part of a community, a church community, coming every day, not every day, but coming on a weekly basis here within and engaging with people who are fellow believers, who are like-minded, that can maybe help you to get a sense of, yes. And then last but not least, having control over one's life. So being able to have a say in your life, the decisions you make, and feeling as if you are listened to and respected. But unfortunately, we do not live in a world that it is smooth sailing every day. We are bound to experience hardships, struggles, trials and tribulations at some point in our life. And they cause us to be under a lot of stress. And so our environments that we live in, the work environment, the school environment, universities, there are stresses that we as individuals, the Lord tells us that this will not be a life free of hardship. We will definitely be sure to encounter these struggles. And so this next section, we'll look at some of the factors that put you at risk for the development of a mental health condition, and then what are the most common ones, and then where and when you can go if you need help. Oh, wait. So maybe just one person, because I see our answers are getting thinner and thinner. What are some of the factors that you think can negatively impact your mental health? We spoke about the factors that can help you to feel mentally well, maybe being a part of a community. If we have to think on, maybe if we don't have a community, if we don't have social support, we don't belong to a group of individuals, that could maybe put us at strain of development of this mental health conditions. And so, does anyone want to share? Okay, yes? For sure. And just so happens that that is one of the risk factors that is mentioned. So thank you for sharing. Is anyone else? No? Okay. So over here we have poverty, we have inequality, social isolation, loneliness, low levels of education, rapid social change, stressful work conditions, violence and abuse, and physical health conditions. As he mentioned about society, the way that things are moving, it would fall under rapid social change. It was not like that, I don't know, perhaps maybe last year even, and if you have to think back on the COVID-19 pandemic, how quickly things changed. And I also would say that it's a big thanks to the pandemic, because since then we've become more aware of our mental health and mental illness and the importance of protecting it. And I will not go into the details of the risk factors, but I'll just briefly touch on them. For poverty, it could be the fact that you cannot meet your basic needs. We spoke about food, running water, sanitation, education. If you are not able to meet this, it can cause you to develop psychosocial and social issues that can be detrimental to your health. It could be that you're angry. Why can I not have access to running water? Why can I not have a good education? Inequality could be that you feel discriminated against, marginalized against, that you do not get fair treatment when it comes to jobs, for example. It could be isolation, you don't have a good social network, a good sense of belonging to a community, and that could also then cause you to feel isolated and lonely, low levels of education. Stressful work conditions, I think we maybe can all relate to. At some point within our work environments, we were under a lot of stress, whether it be by our bosses, our colleagues, or simply just the task that we were given. And so all of these factors then interact to affect our mental health and well-being in different ways. And they affect people differently too. We are not all the same individuals sitting here. And the most important thing to remember is at some point these factors then start to impact the way that we go about in our daily lives, in the fact that we cannot complete simple tasks. And then it raises alarm bells that, hey, I maybe need help. So a mental health condition, remember mental health has to do with thinking, feeling, and acting. And so when there's a problem, it would essentially mean that the way that you think, feel, and act becomes too difficult for you to cope with. And this can range from your simple worries, simply standing up in front of a bunch of people and feeling anxious about, am I going to deliver it well, to being concerned about, how am I going to make the end of the month with my debit orders, for example. So the problem comes in when these worries and anxieties start affecting you on a more longer term. Your odd occasional here and there, like standing in front of a group of people and speaking is okay, but when it starts to impede on your daily functioning, you're unable to complete the basic of basic activities, you then need a bit of extra support. So it then will impact you most days. It will stop you from doing the things that you enjoy, and it will make you feel like you cannot cope anymore. So the most common mental health conditions are your anxiety and your depression. This is not on the slides, but, and I have to say this myself, as someone that is studying within the field, mental health is one of the lowest in South Africa. It is very, very sad, but people are not mentally aware and they are not educated on mental health within our country. And people just do not know where to go to get the right help. It's very sad actually, but that's just my... So anxiety has to do with affecting the way you feel, your fight or flight response. Depression has to do with a persistent feeling of sadness. You're feeling low, you're feeling that you are a failure at life, you are no good. If you have to disappear off the face of the earth today, no one will really notice or care about you. Other less common conditions are bipolar disorder, personality, OCD, eating disorder, and alcohol addictions. So when it comes to spotting the signs, you'll basically be a completely different person. There's a bunch of signs that you can read through if you can see it, but you will have a marked difference in your appearance, the way that you're thinking, and also your behavior. So if Monique's sitting there, and I know Monique to be a certain individual, I will start noticing that, hey, are you okay, Monique? You're not acting as if Monique would normally act. And so, where then do we go and get help if we're feeling overwhelmed and unable to cope? So there is a website, it's there at the bottom, it's called SADAG, it's a South African Depression and Anxiety Group, .org, and on there they have also different information, which I've just put it up on the slide. They have the various helplines. They have a WhatsApp group, and they also can SMS. They have a 24/7 response, and also they have a live chat function for you to then go on the website and chat away with someone when you're needing assistance. Okay, we're nearing the end of our presentation. So, how can I help my mental health and well-being? What are the things that I can do to then assist me with making sure I protect it, I prevent myself from experiencing these mental health conditions, and I can live a fulfilled and happy life then? So we all can play a role in promoting our mental health. And it simply can be with how we go about treating people with dignity and respect, and also provide emotional support to other people. And maybe we are familiar with this. It's our health message, part of it. And it's New Start. It has to do with nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And if you know it or not, it is a very effective way when dealing with your physical, your emotional, your mental, and your spiritual life. So this is basically, that's it, and you're good to go. It also teaches you that you're never too late to make changes in your life. You can start at any point, 50, at 20, at 18, but you can start. I'm just seeing some. And then just to break it down, it has to do with having a good balanced diet, getting lots of physical exercise. Physical exercise is so important, guys. 30 minutes a day, got those chemicals released. Woo-hoo. Water helps with hydration, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And so another way also is when we are feeling that we are overwhelmed, it's important for us to acknowledge how we're feeling. I don't believe in suppressing your emotions and just failing to talk about it, because that is not dealing with it, and it is likely to come back at some point in your life and bite you in the bum. You need to embrace it, suffer through it, because it is not permanent, and acknowledge how you are feeling. Perhaps deep breathing is a way that can help you to, and we will go through, okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Perhaps checking in with someone that you trust. I find that journaling and writing letters to God is a very good way for me to get my thoughts in my head on a piece of paper. And when you see it on a piece of paper, it's completely different to when it's up here. Maybe painting or drawing, maybe practicing good self-care, good hygiene, affirmations, and maybe you need to reach out when you need help. And not filling your life with unhealthy habits and ones that are not going to fulfill you and help you in the long run. We all still good? Okay. So what does God have to say about my mental health? I would like us to consider there are times in our lives when our peace is based simply on our own ignorance. But when we are awakened in the realities of life, true inner peace is impossible unless it is received from Jesus. And I think that this is so fitting, because how many times do we think that we can control our own lives, that we are in charge of things that go on, and we sort of take the wheel? It could be because we feel shameful, we feel guilty, we feel that we are unworthy of spending time in God's presence. And we essentially are in an isolated independence. A journey that leaves us struggling independently from God, and we end up losing hope, our peace is disturbed, and it affects our daily functioning. So, just to recap, we all have mental health. We were all created by God. We are made in His image, and it's important for us to acknowledge that. Secondly, and I'd like to also just emphasize this point, Christians can have mental health issues too, and that doesn't mean that they are less of Christians. It doesn't mean that they have weaker faith because they are suffering something that maybe we do not understand, but that does not at all mean that. They are still children of God, and God loves them endlessly. And though things might be not so great, God is still good. And so a solution to mental health struggles should always include Jesus. Because Jesus cares for you and your mental health conditions. And so as a church community, and I'd like to encourage us here tonight, that doing nothing is not an option. Sometimes we do not understand in something and it scares us. It puts us at a space of not wanting to associate with people because we just simply don't know what it is. But don't do nothing. Being the soul fixer for someone that is also experiencing that is also not the answer. Thinking that you can tackle it on your own. We just saw that having a social support network, having a sense of community is one of the ways that can promote your mental health. And so, as a church, we should always point people to Christ. We can do this also and help them by welcoming them, acknowledging that they are going through something. Don't push it under the carpet. That is not going to do anything. And it's certainly not going to help them and want them to be sitting here and spending time in the presence of God. And help them also then to find biblical transformation truths with tenderness. The goal is to heal someone, not to heal someone, it is to point them to Jesus. So, when you are feeling and you're sitting in your space at home with your own thoughts, and perhaps there's feelings of unworthiness that comes over your body, remember that your worth is found in what God and who God says you are. Not what people say, what not society says, and certainly not based on what you do. If you feel that you have to meet certain standards to be liked and accepted, and perhaps that is something that affects the way that you go about feeling, I want you to be reminded that you are completely forgiven and fully pleasing to God. And so I just want to leave us with this, a biblical encouragement. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let them be afraid. And so, for us to do just a quick activity before I end off, it's a technique called 4-5-6 breathing. And this you can do at any point. When you're feeling a bit anxious, when you're feeling a bit angry, frustrated, if there's any negative emotions or thought that comes into your mind. Remember, 4-5-6 breathing. And this is basically a technique that can help you to gain control over the way that you're feeling and thinking. And you can do it anyway. So I'm going to do it together with you, and then we'll be done. So you can get comfortable. You can close your eyes if you want to. Sit comfortably, relax, and on 4, we're going to inhale. We don't have to do it now, I'll just explain it first. On 4, we will inhale, we will hold for 5, and then we'll exhale for 6. So inhale through our noses and exhale through our mouths. We'll do it 3 times. Are you ready? Okay. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, one more time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just one more for the road. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully we can do this whenever we're feeling stressed. Trust that you were all blessed and you'll continue to be blessed for the rest of the session. Thank you.